In today's lesson, I'm going to teach you how to use prepositions of time in English correctly, and we're going to focus on some commonly used time expressions with in, at, and on. These expressions are frequently used, so it's important to know them. Hello, my name is Kate and this is English Lessons with Kate channel. Let's begin with a quick exercise. I'll read a sentence with different endings and you'll decide whether they are correct or incorrect. Here is the sentence. Let's meet, and here are the endings. In the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, and in the night. Think about these for a moment. Are they all correct? Most of these are correct, but one is not commonly used. We say in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening. However, we don't say in the night. Instead, we say at night. So the correct expression is let's meet at night. Why this difference? Honestly, it's just the way the language has evolved. Some expressions don't follow a clear rule and must be memorized. So remember, while it's in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening, it's at night. Understanding these rules will help you to speak English more naturally. Now let's move on to some more examples and practice what we've learned. Let's look at another example. Think about these sentences. I worked out this morning. I worked out this afternoon. I worked out this evening. And I worked out this night. Do all these sentences sound right to you? Actually, one of them is not correct. The last one should be different. Instead of saying, I worked out this night, we say, I worked out tonight. The word night is used differently from morning, afternoon, and evening. Why is it different? Well, in English, we sometimes say, because that's just the way it is, which means there isn't a specific reason. It's just the rule. Now let's look at another set of examples. She came yesterday morning. She came yesterday afternoon. She came yesterday evening. And she came yesterday night. Any mistakes here? Yes, the last one again. We should say she came last night instead of she came yesterday night. We use last with night, but not with morning, afternoon, or evening. These examples show how English uses certain words differently, and knowing these differences can help you speak more correctly. In all these examples, we can see that night always stands out as the exception. For night, we have to use a different phrase. Let's practice this. Remember, you can learn by listening, writing, and repeating out loud. Ready? Repeat after me. In the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, at night, this morning, this afternoon, this evening, tonight. Yesterday morning, yesterday afternoon, yesterday evening, last night. Is it clear? Great! Now let's talk about some exceptions. Take a look at these phrases. I'll call you tomorrow morning. I'll call you tomorrow afternoon. I'll call you tomorrow evening. I'll call you tomorrow night. Do any of these sound wrong to you? Do you see any mistakes here? Think about it for a moment. Actually, all these phrases are correct. Even though we've discussed that night typically has different rules, in this case, using tomorrow night is perfectly fine. We cannot use yesterday or this with night, but it's correct to use tomorrow with night. So these are all acceptable. Now let's address a point about prepositions. We've learned how to use in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, and at night, right? But what if we add a day of the week? How do the prepositions change? Consider these options: in Tuesday morning, at Tuesday morning, or on Tuesday morning. And the same goes for afternoon, evening, or night. The correct choice here is on. We don't say in Tuesday or at Tuesday. It's always on Tuesday. When you talk about a specific day, always use the word on before saying morning, afternoon, evening, or night. For example, you would say on Monday morning or on Friday night. So it's on Tuesday morning, on Tuesday afternoon, on Saturday evening, on Friday night, etc. Remember, the preposition on is key when we're talking about days. Keep this in mind as we continue to refine our use of time prepositions in English. Here's the sentence. I'm going to start a new book. In the moment, in an hour, in winter. Do all of these sound right to you? There is one option which is not correct. We say in winter, in summer, and in an hour. However, we don't say in the moment. Instead, we say at the moment. So the correct expression is I'm going to start a new book at the moment. Now, let's look at a common set of phrases. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. These are all standard greetings. So, what makes them interesting? They're a bit different from each other in how we use them. Let me explain. The first three greetings, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, are similar to saying hello during those specific times of the day. For example, when you get to work in the morning, you might greet our colleagues with good morning, which is just a friendly way to say hello at the start of the day. If you're meeting someone for a lunch appointment, you might say good afternoon as a polite greeting. Similarly, when you enter a restaurant in the evening, someone would say to you good evening, which is another polite way to greet somebody. Each of these is a way to say hi at a certain time of the day, often in a more formal context. These greetings help set the tone for respectful and polite communication. Let's imagine a situation where it's late at night and you walk into your friend's house at night and say good night as a greeting. Is that appropriate? Actually, no. Good night isn't used as a way to say hello, even during nighttime. Instead, good night is usually used when someone is leaving or going to bed. Also, when you're leaving someone in the evening, you might say, take care, good night. Or it's commonly used when someone is heading to sleep, like parents often say to their children, good night, sweetheart, as they turn off the lights. However, remember that we say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening when we arrive somewhere and say hello, while good night is for saying goodbye. Now let's review what we have covered in this lesson. Now let's have a little quiz. I will show you a sentence and you need to decide which ones are correct and which are not. Ready? Let's begin. Number 1. I'll go to the beach this afternoon. Is this correct? Take a moment to think, and you can pause the video if you need more time. Yes, this sentence is correct. No mistakes there. Next sentence. Let's review. The city looks beautiful in the night. Is this correct? No, that's incorrect. The correct phrase is at night. Remember, you can say in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, but it should be at night. Next, we have, are we meeting at Tuesday night? Right or wrong? This sentence is wrong. It should be on Tuesday night. And this applies whether you're saying on Tuesday morning, on Tuesday afternoon, on Tuesday evening, or just on Tuesday. You always use the preposition on when referring to a day. Let's move on to the next one. Number 4. Good night, how are you? Is that correct? No, it's not correct to use good night as a greeting like hello. You can say good morning, how are you? Good afternoon, how are you? And good evening, how are you? But good night should not be followed by a question like how are you? We use good night typically when someone is going to bed. Also, you might say good night when you're leaving someone's house after an evening together. So that's how good night should be used. Finally, number 6. I had a dream yesterday night. Is that right? Again, this is wrong. The correct phrase to use is last night, not yesterday night. We say yesterday morning, yesterday afternoon, yesterday evening, but for night we use last night. So the correct phrase would be I had a dream last night. Alright, so it might seem a bit tricky at first, but you'll notice there are certain patterns to learn. You can rewatch this video during the week, write some sentences down, and repeat them out loud. Try to use them throughout the week to remember what you've learned. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please don't forget to hit the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. If you like my content, you can send me a super thanks. I love you guys. See you next time.